Says we're live. So today I am excited to introduce to you Joel Oliver, a seasoned entrepreneur and founder of East Coast Studio. And his journey began as a freelancer and evolved into a successful seven-figure business built completely from scratch without outside investment. But his story isn't just about entrepreneurship. The reason why I asked him to be on this show with me is because at the age of 28, he underwent open heart surgery, which was a life-altering event that shaped his approach to both life and business. Despite the challenges, though, Joel has thrived, and today he helps health-focused entrepreneurs harness the power of podcasting to generate leads and grow their businesses. That's great that you're combining, your life experience with your passion. So we're going to dive into first his testimony of healing and hear how his experiences have inspired him to build a fulfilling life and career. Okay. So hello, Joel. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. So, can you tell me first, what led to your open heart surgery and how that impacted your life and your business?
hmm Well, it was something that I hadn't really known about until probably 5 to 8 years before I actually had the surgery. There was a couple of instances where I ended up in the hospital with atrial fibrillation, they call it, where your heart rhythm
Mm-hmm.
is all messed up. And I had no idea what was going on at that point. It was very scary. And from there on, they started monitoring me and doing some tests, and they found out I had what they described as a leaky mitral valve. So it's one of the valves in your
Mm-hmm.
heart. When the heart pumps, it's not doing so efficiently. It's not pumping the blood properly. The valve is leaking. So the options for that are either a surgery to replace that valve with something mechanical or put in an artificial one or repair it, that kind of thing. But I didn't need anything quite at that time. They were just monitoring it over the years. And of course, I hoped it would just be fine. And they would say, just it's okay. We don't need to do anything. But eventually, the cardiologist said, this is actually deteriorating and we recommend that you go and do a surgery. And that was funny, not funny, but it was surprising news to me, let's say, because at that point I was probably in the peak shape of my life, and I try to continue that every year that I am alive, is to improve my health. But I was hiking, I was going to the gym, I really didn't feel that bad. So to have someone tell you, hey, we've got to cut you open and fix your heart is quite shocking. And I was curious. I certainly had some doubt. It was scary. Like, do I really need this? But you're trusting what the experts are telling you, and this is what they said. So, about a year after I got that news, I was actually in for the surgery and I had a replacement. So, I actually have a titanium mitral valve in my heart now. And, daily life is pretty good. There's a little bit of anxiety there always, knowing that you have a bit of a heart problem, but thankfully, that was 6 years ago now, and life's been good. It was a bit of a recovery process after the actual surgery, but I was fine, and I'm doing well. And one thing I'll throw in here as well is actually a year before my surgery, my mom had the exact same thing. And they discovered hers at a much later stage of life, but they found out she had this exact same issue. So I must have got it genetically. She had the exact same surgery. I had seen everything that she had to go through. So by the time it came around to me, I was actually I kind of understood the entire process a lot more. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, that is very interesting. So how old was she when she got in, and you were 28, right? So how old was she?
She, I believe, was early 50s. I'm really bad with years and timelines, but it
Okay.
was, yeah, about a year before me. So early
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah, that's crazy that over it happened to you over 20 years younger in age. So
hmm
wow. And
Yeah, and we never really knew if this has been something that was progressing within her over her lifetime because they hadn't monitor it for that. So she might have actually had the same issue for many years and just never showed signs of it. Well, clearly she did, but they didn't catch it till much later.
Mhm. So was there anything that you did differently health wise, like diet, exercise, sleep, supplements, anything like that that you did differently after your open heart surgery?
Well, that's an interesting question because I'm obviously health minded, so I want to be living as healthily as possible. And that does include supplements. You know, there are some great supplements and things like that out there, different foods that we can eat to help improve and optimize the way we live. Now, the downside is with the mechanical heart valve, you need to take a medication. Mine's called warfarin, which is a blood thinner, and that
Mhm.
prevents your blood from clotting. Because if you don't take that, the blood can actually clot onto the valve. Then you have a blood clot inside you, and it can go into your brain. It can cause a stroke, that kind of thing. The problem with that medication is almost everything interacts with it. If you name a supplement, it interacts with that medication. So that means I am extremely limited in what types of supplements I can take. So I would like to be taking a lot more not medications, but supplements and those types of things and eating different foods to improve my health, but I just can't. So I've had to sort of accept that, hey, at least you're alive and do things in the way that I can. So eat healthy foods, exercise, sleep well, that type of thing. But unfortunately, yeah, there are some things I would like to take that I just can't. But I'm grateful to be here, and that's life.
Okay, so you did clean up your diet and, prioritize rest and exercise and sunshine and things like that.
Absolutely. And yes, I can elaborate on that a little more. Like I said, I'm very health minded. So diet wise, I don't eat any processed foods, seed oils, all that kind of thing. I refuse to eat this processed junk that's out there. I eat all natural foods. Now, I'm sure I could do better. Every once in a while, I'll have a treat, but day to day diet, very, very healthy. And that's very important to me. Kind of low carb most of the time as well, which there's different viewpoints on this, but for me, just yeah, healthy, natural stuff. So meat, eggs, that type of thing, and very, very little of this fake food that's out there. I think is very, very important.
Yeah, so you do low carb, not no carb, but low carb.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah, of course. I don't think it's good to be a Nazi to yourself either, because then you
Yeah,
won't
and
be happy.
it's there you can take it farther and farther and farther. I can only do so much. Organic, I would love to eat everything organic, but of course the cost is quite high, so I try to do what I can. And then foods you traditionally might think were healthy, well, if you research those, you find out that the crops are fertilized with this poisonous stuff. And there's a lot, it's very challenging to eat that well. So we have to do what we can. But yeah,
Do the
avoiding
best.
the absolute worst of things is very, very important to me. And like you mentioned, some natural things as well, like how you do your sleep cycle and avoiding blue light in the evening and getting sunlight in the morning. There's so many natural ways we can go about living well, which I try to maximize for sure. And go to the gym every day, building muscle, that type of thing.
Absolutely. That's awesome. All right. So what did your business look like before versus after the open heart surgery? Because there are some changes there. So not just your
Hmm.
health, but also with your business. What were the changes, the differences?
Yeah, so I originally started out as a freelancer, which means everything was just me. There was no other team, there was nobody else, it was me doing the work. And as I got busier and busier, I started to expand on that and try to get some help and build in some systems. But I was not a business guy, so I didn't really know what I was doing. And I still had a business that heavily relied on me. And by the time my surgery came about, one of the people working with me was my brother. He was my business partner, and he was really interested in kind of building a business on our own as well. So I had that additional pressure, let's call it, where I wanted to make sure that no matter what happened to me, not that there was a high risk necessarily of any problems, I wanted the business to be able to be sustained moving forward. Uh, Whether I was here or not, or just it shouldn't have to rely on me. It should be kind of a self-sustaining thing. So we were faced with that reality going into the surgery that, hey, we need to get you out of this more. This needs to be able to run without you, even if it's just for a few days. How do we do that? And so I really had to start thinking then, how am I supposed to delegate? How do you grow and scale a business when you feel like you have to have your hand in everything? Like it just can't be done without me. No one else will do it properly. There's going to be mistakes. All of these mindset shifts you need to make to let go and find a way. However I need to do this, find some trustworthy people, build some systems. It can be done. So that was a big thing that we grappled with moving into it. Now, I must admit, within 24 hours of being awake from the surgery in my hospital bed, I was online. I was watching the email and talking to some of our staff, but we did have a huge shift at that point in how the business ran, which relied much less on me.
Okay. And then you also did you start focusing more also on helping health healthpreneurs with their business instead of just kind of being a generalist or
We did, but that was a more recent thing. It wasn't quite back then. There was a big evolution. I'm constantly learning. As I mentioned, I was not a business person. So this was over years and years. You would figure out this is working, this is not. How do we make this better? And so it was probably a couple of years ago at this point, I started working with a business consultant who pointed out to me that we had no real niche. We were just out there. We would work with anyone. And he showed me all the benefits and the synergy you could create if you narrowed down, honed in on a certain type of people. So his first exercise for me was let's look at your current client list and pick out your best ones and see who they are and then what they have in common. And it just so happened a lot of them were health-minded entrepreneurs with podcasts. And I like that. As we're talking about here, I do have an interest in health, and I like to see all these different people out there, whether they're doctors or chiropractors or something else that's maybe not officially a doctor, but they have a lot of really great advice that's helping change lives of people. I like that. I think it's a great way to affect change on the world, and I see it firsthand how they're helping these people. And I saw the benefit of if I start working more exclusively with these types of clients, we can connect them to each other. I can learn more about their specific challenges. I can serve them better. So there are a lot of benefits for us as a business to go down that path. But I was naturally kind of led there just by looking. I don't know how it happened, but we just happened to have a lot of podcast clients who were working in that health and wellness space. And it was something I just feel positive about. I feel very like it resonates with me. So getting involved in that, I felt like this is great. We can all work on this together and have a positive impact in the world. So I really like that.
that's awesome. So personally, so I have a podcast started a long time ago, and I even kind of not really I didn't change it, but I added on to it the different types of topics that I started talking about. And people say podcasts, and usually they think, Spotify or these types of things. But I really like to follow the Gary V method, where you create a piece of content, whether it be an interview like this or maybe like a webinar or some kind of informational, talk with or without slides, and I put it everywhere. And Spotify, it's starting to, even though it used to be audio only, they've got video podcasts. So it's like YouTube podcasting, it's like they're all the same
Mhm.
almost in terms of it's just a different platform. They're all kind of becoming like one, like Twitter is doing video now, or X or whatever, and long form content and things like that. So it's like kind of like everything is becoming everything. But and I love that you are focusing on health and wellness professionals, because usually when people, whether they're becoming a doctor or chiropractor, or myself, I'm a naturopathic herbalist or holistic life coach, whatever whatever field they enter into, they never think that they have to be a marketer. And for doctors, they can just work for a hospital and they don't really have to market themselves. But anyone that's holistic minded, whether it be a doctor or an herbalist or a life coach or whatever, health coach, they do have to be entrepreneurial minded, because there's not a lot of jobs for people who do the holistic approach. Even medical doctors, even if they are a medical doctor but they want to go holistic, they usually have to start carving their own path as an entrepreneur, because unfortunately that's just how our world is set up right now, is to favor the pharmaceutical methods. and things like that. And that's what insurance covers and things like that. And so that's why getting, your message out through podcasting and video and social media, et cetera, is so important. So, and this is actually also, in my certification program at Arukah.com, we teach naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing. Because as I stated previously, that there's no jobs, no good paying jobs, anyways, for herbalists. You have to get out there. You have to become a public figure, a speaker, and get your message out there. You have to become an evangelist for holistic health and healing.
Yes, whether you like it or not. I know a lot of us feel like we just want to do the thing that we're good at. You just want to help people with your knowledge, but you have to become, as you said, you have to become that marketer and understand business to a certain extent. You can get help with it, but that's the decision that you make when you go down that path. You need to take those things on. But I do love that we are in this stage. You mentioned kind of the downside where everything is more pharmaceutical based, but I'm at least grateful that we have these opportunities to put our own content out there now, because otherwise people wouldn't have been able to find that help. Or years ago, perhaps it was much less easy to discover. As I mentioned, there's quite a few clients that I work with, and I've heard feedback from their listeners they're regularly talking about things that their doctors just would not help them with. They couldn't get anything on. The doctor said no, and then they found this podcast, someone like yourself, who was able to help them in a different way, and their life completely changed. And without that knowledge being out there from people like you who are putting that online for them to discover, they would have just lived out their life in pain or with the struggle that they had before. So I really love seeing that we're able to do this.
Yes, absolutely. So, could you share one practical tip on how holisticpreneurs can get leads and sales through their podcast
Hmm.
or video channel, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, you have to put the content out there. But when we talk about actually getting the sales through there, I'll give a big one, is having what I'll call a high ticket offer. So something that we've seen as a challenge before is if you're selling a smaller package to a handful of people, it's very difficult to have a budget to consistently podcast and
Mm.
monetize your business. It's going to be a lot harder versus if you say are able to sell an ongoing thing that maybe has an initial higher price point and then a subscription of some sort or a 3 or 6 month program, whatever relates properly to the service that you're offering. That gives you a lot more of a runway. You have a lot more of a budget to work with. You put in all this effort to obtain a client and you actually get a big payoff from it as opposed to something quite small. So that's a huge one when you're looking at how to efficiently use a podcast to generate leads. You don't need a giant audience from any type of podcast or social media following if you are doing it this way. You have an offer that's higher ticket, higher priced. You can have an audience of 50 or 100 people and you can actually build a nice business around that, or a few hundred people. But you have to make that shift from, say, selling a $10 ebook to a higher ticket package. So that would be one big shift that I would say is very important when you want to monetize through podcasting.
Yeah, that's really funny because I just did a webinar as part of a summit was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And I was talking about how holisticpreneurs should have a high ticket program for their business. And I think it's not only beneficial for the healer, but also for the client because you value where your money is, there will your heart be also, right?
Hmm.
That's the famous saying. And people don't value what you are teaching them if they haven't invested in it. I'm not saying that about all people. Obviously, there will be some people who are really suffering and don't have the means and they need that low ticket book or whatever, but there are also people that will need your service at a much higher level, a much more personal attention, and you can't do that for free because you have your own family to feed and things like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, absolutely, that's very, very important.
Yeah,
So
you're
that,
able to serve people so much better with something like that. And you're right, not everyone can afford that, so that's why we have the maybe an ebook or something.
or the
But
podcast.
accountability, yeah, or podcast, accountability is a huge part of that. Like I've bought ebooks before and I decided I don't have the patience really to read that, but I want to go pay you. And I know that every week you're there and you're giving me advice and I'm held accountable to you. So that's a big part of that as well.
Yeah, I remember when I first got hypothyroidism, my coach that I hired, she had a book, and I'm like, I'm suffering. I'm not gonna I don't have time to read your book. I just wanna I wanna talk to you, and I want you to, help me. And so, so I paid I paid a higher price, even though I could have probably gotten her knowledge from a book, but I was desperate, and so I needed that. And also, with a high ticket coaching program, I was just talking to a mold toxicity expert right before you, and we were discussing how when you go to a doctor's office, you know, even if you're paying out of pocket like 150 or $200 or $300 for the visit, they can't possibly give you everything that you need in one office visit. And what even if it's a 2 hour visit, like you need to really be empowered with a high ticket coaching program, because in order to justify a high ticket price, you have to be serving at your highest, and that's what you're going to get with a high ticket coaching program. Is you're going to get everything you could ever possibly need to help you with your situation, as
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Yeah, and that was a shift I had to come to accept as well because this is what my consultant was telling me up front. So this applied to the same as what we're talking about here, but in our business, we used to work with a lot of these kind of one-off smaller jobs, and I could not serve those people the same. So although my business is podcasting, it's a little different from yours, but this applies in the same way, is once we started having this high ticket offer and people who were subscribing, now I could dedicate a whole bunch more time to those people. I wasn't constantly spinning my wheels trying to deliver for these low price projects. I had one-on-one dedicated time to come and help this client grow their podcast, for example, or same that would apply with what you're saying. You getting that high ticket payment means you can dedicate yourself fully to that client, as opposed to if they just spent $20 or $30 with you, you just don't have the time, and now they're getting better help because of it. So yeah, there's so many benefits to having that high ticket offer in place. It's very important, and people should be mindful that they are doing a great service. Don't undersell yourself, or no one will think that no one will pay for this. They're only going to pay for this little book, or I have to lower my rates. There is definitely value in what we do. So the high ticket offer makes things a whole lot easier in terms of running the business.
Yeah. And the when I create content, not the interviews, but when I create free content, like free ebooks, and I'll give them away. And that helps people who can't afford the high ticket. So it's not like a lot of people, they feel like all you care about is money. Well, that's not true. I'm helping a lot of people with the free content that I put out all the time. And I have people that email me or message me, and they're like, you helped me grow my hair back, or you helped me discover the best diet for me, or you helped me heal my daughter, or just whatever, all these wonderful testimonies. So we should, people shouldn't feel guilty for doing that. So for and I do interview a lot of holistic practitioners in my podcast. So a bunch of them today, actually. So for them, how if they would like your help getting their business out there through podcasting or video casting, all that, how can they reach you, and how can they work with you?
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to chat and connect with anyone like that, even if it's just for a little discussion. You just have some questions, you can always reach out. But if you're a podcaster as well, you're already doing this, but you want a little assistance with it or some direction to make sure that it's growing and it's helping your business in the best way possible, the best starting point is eastcoaststudio.com. All my social media, the podcast, everything is linked there. So eastcoaststudio.com.
All right, eastcoaststudio.com. That's a long name, but pretty easy to remember. So that's good. And I'll link
Yeah,
to that in this.
if I could go back in time, I might change it, but I can't. So I'm going to leave just sticking with that.
That's all right. All right. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Joel. Thank you for taking the time to share your testimony. I'm very glad to hear that you're managing and that you're thriving, and that you not only got the open heart surgery, but you're also taking care of yourself and eating good. And that's something, entrepreneurs, we have to especially take care of our health, because sometimes we tend to overwork ourselves and be workaholics. I know I
Yes.
am. So it's really
Yeah.
good to all that self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a struggle. It feels like a struggle some days, but that's why we try to focus on that and make every day as good as we can with sleep and diet and exercise. So it all adds up, and you need that energy to keep doing this type of work. So thank you so much for the opportunity and for what you're doing.
Okay, awesome. Okay, have a great night.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Algar and I am the host of Expertise TV, and I'm very excited to be introducing you to our guest today, Mayim Vega. Now, Mayim Vega is a former NASA computer scientist turned holistic healer after facing a very personal health crisis, which the modern medical system could not resolve. In 2009, she founded Arukah.com, which offers an holistic healer certification program focusing on 3 pillars: naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing to empower people to become holistic healers and achieve maximum impact in the world. Mayim combines her scientific background, natural healing methods, and faith in the creator and great physician to guide others on a path to personal and professional well-being. Mayim, it's clear that you are very passionate about the topic of holistic health and particularly helping people who are wanting to transition into this approach. How did you find yourself in this line of work, and why is this work so important to you?
Thank you, Ashley, for taking the time to speak with me. And I'd love to answer that question. So, the way I found myself in this line of work starts with my story of when I transitioned from becoming a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center to becoming an entrepreneur and building my first online business in digital marketing. And the reason why I did that is so that I could stay at home and be with my newly born son at the time. And now I have 7 children of my own, and I always wanted to homeschool them and just be there for them. And so that's why I became an entrepreneur. But my first few years as an entrepreneur was extremely difficult. And I thought it was healthy, but later on, after all my studies, I realized there were a lot of things that I was doing that was not very healthy. They were not very healthy habits that I had. And what ended up happening was I got really sick, and I thought I was on my deathbed. And I was rushed to the emergency room, and the doctor actually thought that I had a brain tumor. But after extensive testing and examination, she told me that there was nothing wrong with me. I was experiencing a lot of pain, but they had nothing for me. There was nothing they could do for me. She said that she could give me some really strong painkillers, but that's really it. She couldn't really get rid of the problem. And so I took the painkillers, but again, painkillers and any pharmaceutical drug never address the root cause of illness and disease. And that's exactly why this line of work is so important to me, and why I went on my own personal journey to become a holistic healer, to study nutrition, herbalism, holistic health, and holistic life coaching, is because we all know people, and maybe probably even ourselves, who, just like me, went to the modern medical system because that's the expected thing to do. That's a normal thing to do. And, tried to get health and healing that way, but hit a dead end, hit a brick wall, and we either got medications that didn't work, or that only worked for a while, or that caused side effects that were so terrible that we had to get on other medications, plural, and maybe even the medication or medications caused side effects that caused other health issues. And sometimes the health issues are worse than the first problem that you originally had. And we're on this ridiculous roller coaster of drug after treatment after procedure because the modern medical system never addresses the root cause. And medical professionals who have woken up know this. And that's why I have medical professionals in my program, including, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, medical technicians, etc., who are learning from me, who are, taking the certification program because they realize that our system is broken and we need to fix it. It is our destiny as humanity to overcome all this nonsense, really. We can do better and we will do better. I know it. And that's why, in my certification program, sometimes I joke around. No, it's not really a joke, but I say, I'm empowering not just holistic healers, but holistic warriors. We're in a battle. We're in a battle over our own health and healing to safeguard and protect that, and that of our families and friends and community, of course, as well. And we're also in a battle against very powerful people who, because of profits, like to suppress holistic health and healing truths to keep us just sick enough so that we need something, pharmaceuticals, but not well enough to ever get off them. That is truly the goal of big pharma, of the pharmaceutical industry. It's not true. They don't want to heal us. They don't want to cure us. They want to keep us just sick enough so that we keep giving them our money. And you know what? Me personally, I have better things to spend with my money, like on good food, clean herbs, things that don't cause these ridiculous side effects that we experience with pharmaceutical drugs.
Thank you, Mayim. So that brings me to my next question. What are some of the key benefits of transitioning from the conventional healing approach to a holistic approach in health and healing?
Okay, so that's another really great and important question. The key benefits of transitioning from conventional healing to a holistic approach are, right now, I can think of three main reasons. Number one, the holistic approach is safer. Number two, the holistic approach is more effective. And number three, the holistic approach is the true approach that gets to the root cause. Okay. Now, I'd like to illustrate the first point, the safety of holistic medicine. If someone who was taking some, let's say blood pressure medication or something like that, visited me at my house, let's say I invited them over for dinner, and let's say they had to take some of their medicine and they dropped one of their pills, right, in my dining room or in my living room floor. Now, I have very small children. I have a 4-year-old. And what if my 4-year-old found that pill on the floor and thought it was candy or something like that and put it in her mouth and ate it? What would happen? I would immediately have to call the poison control center to get that pill out of her system because those pills can have deadly side effects. But what if someone dropped a vitamin C pill or a tincture, you know, and one of my children found it? For the most part, if they found it and took it, they might have a little diarrhea. It might be really spicy on their tongue, and so they would stop taking it. But no, I wouldn't have to control the poison control center because vitamins and herbs and minerals are extremely, like 1,000 times safer than pharmaceutical drugs. There's a few types of, supplements that you might have to call the poison control center, but for the most part, no, you won't have to do that because our body knows how to work with those substances. It is not a drug. It is a healing tool. Okay. So completely safe. Also, exercise, diet, those are all safe, right? Sleep, those are all part of holistic health and healing. Completely safe, zero side effects. Now, let's talk about the effectiveness. The holistic approach is more effective. And the reason why we know this is because in my practice, and this is the experience of many holistic healers, when it comes to the conventional ways with the pharmaceutical drugs, as I said before, they don't deal with the root cause. They just mask symptoms. So, you might take a cough suppressant, let's say, for example, but if you are not dealing with the root cause, why are you coughing in the first place? Why do you have allergies? Why do you have the flu, etc.? Why is your immune system not strong enough to overcome this in just a few hours or just a day or two overnight? Why? Because you have not built up your immune system. You haven't boosted it or live the kind of life that you need to in order to avoid those common illnesses altogether. I have one of my students is a medical doctor, and she said that she used to take anti-allergy drugs every single week because of her allergies. The allergy drugs don't boost your immune system; they just suppress it. They just oppress your allergy symptoms. But when you have allergy symptoms, it's your body talking to you and telling you, hey, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this thing that you're eating or this environment that you've just stepped into because of my state of being. I'm not strong enough. That's what your immune system is saying to you. But I taught her a really powerful vitamin protocol that actually boosts your immune system so that your immune system is strong enough to overcome allergies. And so that's the difference. It is effective because it is true. It is true holistic health and healing because it strengthens your immune system. It doesn't silence it, like I said before. And the third issue is the root cause. Holistic health and healing deals with the root cause, and the conventional approach of drugs and surgery, etc., does not. That doesn't mean that you sometimes don't need surgery, for example, or in an emergency situation need a drug, but you're not dealing with the root cause. And if you deal with the root cause, you can make your problems either go away or become extremely minimal, safely, effectively, and naturally without poisoning your body and causing the roller coaster of side effects.
Mayim, you have developed an incredible program that you've already mentioned called the Arukah Holistic Healer Certification Program, which you have specifically created for those looking to either transition into the holistic approach or for those who are wanting to grow in their knowledge and practice. Can you talk us through what differentiates this program from other similar programs that are currently out there?
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, the certification program at Arukah.com is really, truly incredible. And there's a few things that set it apart, actually, many things, but I'd like to focus on a few. And one of them is that when I designed the program, I designed it for someone who was in my situation many years ago, someone who was a busy mom who had a lot of work to do and a lot of things on her plate, but still wanted to empower herself with the knowledge of holistic health and healing for herself, for her family, so she could take care of her family, and maybe even build a career where, very specifically, she could stay at home and, just like me, be a stay-at-home mom. And even a homeschool mom. I've been a homeschool mom. My oldest is 20 now, and I homeschooled him the whole way. And he's already graduated college, and he's got a computer science degree. And he's an entrepreneur himself. I instilled that dream in him. So being able to, I was able to surpass my income at NASA, and still homeschool my children. It's pretty awesome achievement. And so I wanted to empower people in my program to do exactly the same as I've done, to become a holistic healer, to have a successful online business so that they can have time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, meaning that there's no glass ceiling. No one who you need to get a raise from. You just have to help people. That's how I get paid, is when I help people, right? And so that's what's one of the advantages. Another advantage is it's very hands-on and apprenticeship based. And you could go to a college to study to become a naturopathic doctor, or another holistic professional like a chiropractor. But it's going to take a lot more money, and a lot more time as well. This program can be completed in 1 year, but because all of my students pretty much are busy professionals already, or busy moms, it's self-paced. So if you have a lot of things on your plate, it's okay. It's still going to be there for you. There's not like a time limit. You're not going to, your grade's not going to be lowered because you submit an assignment late or anything like that. It's self-paced. And so I've designed it for the busy mom, or the working woman. And another thing that sets it apart is we have three core pillars in our program. One is that our students study naturopathic herbalism, and that takes up the bulk of our program. And naturopathic herbalism includes studying the foundations of holistic health and healing, identifying toxins and detoxification, also nutrition and orthomolecular nutrition, or megadose vitamin therapy, as well as herbalism, which includes also homeopathy and aromatherapy with essential oils. And also they study Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. But it's mostly focused on Western medicine, Western herbalism, excuse me. And then the next core pillar, the second one, is holistic life coaching. And the reason why holistic life coaching is part of the program is to incorporate the mind spirit aspect of it, right? If herbs and supplements are the alternative to pharmaceutical drugs, well, holistic life coaching is like the holistic alternative to psychiatry. It deals with the mind and the spirit, and spirit has to be part of it because we are spiritual beings. We're not just physical beings. We're also spiritual beings. Now, a lot of holistic health and healing schools are based on different religions, New Age, or other pagan religions. And this program, because I'm Jewish, is based on the Creator. It's based on the Bible and biblical principles, Judeo-Christian principles. And so therefore I have a lot of people who are of that faith persuasion, Jews, Christians, or people who maybe, they don't really identify as Jewish or Christian, but they're open to it, or they grew up in that faith, and they don't necessarily want all the new age spirituality. They want the kind of spirituality that they are comfortable with and used to. That's another thing that sets us apart. And life coaching is all about mindset and how to have healthy relationships with yourself, with others, of course, also, with food and your body and lifestyle. Holistic life coaching encompasses all of that. And it's a very important part of holistic health and healing, especially because stress is often the root cause of many illnesses, common illnesses, and also chronic diseases. So, that mind and spirit aspect is very important. And the third aspect is online business marketing. And again, the reason why that's important is because, as I told you, I really want my students to thrive and to be able to, have that time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, which which an online business provides, but also because, there's not a lot of jobs for herbalists, or life coaches even. And so we really have to be entrepreneurial. And it's very, very rewarding. And because of my background, with my digital marketing business, my first business, I can really help people in that department.
Thanks so much, Mayim. So I love the power of testimony and hearing people's personal experiences or journeys. Can you share some of the success stories that might be coming to mind or testimonials from past students?
Yes, we certainly have a lot of success stories and testimonials, and we'll show some of those testimonials at the end of our talk today in this video. But uh, I could talk about a few of them that are maybe recent. One of them is one of my students. She told me that she wanted to become a nutritionist, but I guess her life's journey didn't really allow for that. So when she heard about my program, my certification program, when it first launched, she joined, and she really wanted to help her husband, who had been suffering from colitis under the care of doctors for about 20 years, ever since he was in the military. And he was going from medication to medication, and suffering with diarrhea and insomnia and restless legs and indigestion, and all these terrible things that colitis can cause. And so I actually created a custom module for her to help her husband with that. And in 2 months, she helped her husband get off the medication and heal from colitis using food and herbs and natural holistic healing methods. So that was a great accomplishment for her. And I get people, contacting me saying that I helped them grow their hair back, or actually someone said, "Oh, you helped save, you helped save a little girl's life." Just beautiful, wonderful things like that. You helped me heal my daughter. You helped me grow, um, regrow my teeth so I don't have pain from cavities anymore. Like just all these wonderful testimonies. And that's the reason why I love doing what I do. And and you will too, if you join the program. It's so rewarding and fulfilling to understand and to know that you are helping people, truly helping people in ways that they can't get in the modern medical system. It's so rewarding.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mayim. I can only imagine the sense of reward when people start applying these principles to their lives and actually see a change and transformation. And for somebody as passionate as you are around this topic, to witness that and to be a part of that, I imagine that the reward is priceless. Another common question that arises is, once someone completes the program, what are some of the practical steps one would take in order to start a successful career in holistic health?
Okay, that's a great question. And that's actually what the third pillar of our program is all about, is, what do you do? Practical steps on what you would do to start a successful career in holistic health. And in that program, we teach our students how to create a high ticket transformational health coaching program that really helps people deal with a serious a problem, a serious health issue. And that doesn't mean that it's a deadly, problem, but it can be something that really affects their life, right? Even skin disorders can really affect your life, right? Even though it's not necessarily deadly. Weight loss could be something that is dealing with a serious issue. There's so many different types of health coaching programs that one can make, anxiety, depression, hormonal issues, etc. So they build, it's part of the program. They will do this while they're still in the program, and we'll support them the whole way, is to build that first high ticket health coaching program, and then set up their online assets, such as their website, their social media, a video sales letter, press releases, podcasts, all those things that online entrepreneurs need in order to connect with people, get their message of health and healing out there, and build and grow and scale their business.
Thank you so much, Mayim. It's been so great talking with you today. But before we close, for those that would like to get started on the journey to becoming an holistic healer and wanting to learn a little bit more about the certification program, how do they go about contacting you?
Yes, it's been wonderful talking to you today as well. And for all those who would like to get started on their journey to become a holistic healer and learn more about the certification program, all they need to do is visit the website, www.arukah.com, ARUKAH.com, and dig into that and schedule a discovery call. And I would love to be your mentor, your health coach, your teacher in guiding you to become a holistic healer, to become the healer of your home and your family and your community, and to help you build a profitable online health coaching business.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Mayim. So there we have it, folks. If you are ready to move forward in your own journey of becoming a holistic healer, then you can visit the website at www.arukah.com, where you can schedule your first discovery call. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.